When we think of a magical grimoire, we typically picture chaos, boiling cauldrons, muttered incantations, and arbitrary superstition. Renaissance esoteric thinkers viewed magic as a structured, mathematical extension of natural philosophy. To understand how they actually viewed the universe, we have to examine one of the most enigmatic manuscripts surviving from the era. It is known as the Book of Soyga, or Alderaya. Opening its pages reveals an alternative, highly rigid system of physics. The text immediately announces its precision with a striking 12-pointed geometric star on its title page. Directly beneath that star sits a guiding principle: knowledge has no enemy other than ignorance. The true nature of this manuscript is laid bare in its massive, hyper-organized table of contents. This index acts as a blueprint for the entire universe. We are going to deconstruct this manuscript layer by layer. The index reveals exactly how the author bound human biology, terrestrial physics, and astrology into a single, operable machine. The index suggests that in this worldview, the way information is organized is as vital as the information itself, treating the text as a doorway to the mechanics of reality. Before we can map the mechanics of this system, we have to look at how the book establishes its own authority to rewrite physics. That starts here, in the preface, framing its knowledge through a narrative dispute. It introduces 3 enlightened masters possessing purely celestial knowledge. They are immediately opposed by 12 earthly kings in India, claiming territorial and legal authority. The text frames this conflict using strict legal terminology like the right of possession. It is a jurisdictional battle between heaven and earth. The preface makes an explicit ruling on this dispute. It states that earthly knowledge can be equated to an empty vessel when compared to this specific celestial truth. This mythos gives the reader structural permission to reject orthodox earthly science in favor of the radical system the book is about to deploy. With the authority of earthly kings dismissed, the text begins building its own baseline of natural philosophy. Look closely at the deliberate pairing of sections 4 and 5 in the table of contents. Section 4 breaks down the Aristotelian elements: fire, air, earth, water. Immediately below, section 5 mirrors this with the Galenic humors: blood, phlegm, red and black bile. This is a perfect example of the microcosm versus macrocosm concept. In this framework, the human body is understood to be an exact, scaled-down replica of the physical universe. The author is not merely listing adjacent topics. By arranging the index this way, they are structurally hardwiring human biology to global physics. In this system, the fluids in your stomach and the dirt under your feet are governed by the exact same mechanical laws. Having mapped the earth and the body, the text scales upward to the celestial realm to find the clockwork that runs both. Here we hit the overwhelming density of sections 19 through 23. The entries become a relentless sequence pairing planets with zodiac signs: Saturn and Capricorn, Jupiter and Sagittarius. These permutations continue exhaustively, filling page after page with celestial coordinates. This functions as a rigid spatial and temporal coordinate grid. These specific planetary and zodiacal intersections dictate exactly how the base elements of the Earth and the humors of the human body will behave at any given moment. Astrology in Soyga acts as the master control board, the interface where cosmic time dictates physical reality. But understanding this celestial grid is only half the battle. The text ultimately intends for the reader to operate within it. We reach the apex of the table of contents at section 26.1, the Liber Radiorum, or Book of Rays. This section invokes divine power through highly specific trinities, like Agla, Primogenitus, On. Its explicit purpose is understanding and combating universal evils. If the 4 elements and the astrological grid are the hardware of the universe, these trinities of divine names are the executable commands. The Book of Rays establishes Soyga as an operator's manual for navigating and altering a highly deterministic universe. When we step back, the total sum of this table of contents comes clearly into view. At the lowest layer, the Aristotelian elements and Galenic humors form the physical baseline. On top of that sits the middle layer, the astrological grid that dictates time and manifestation. And at the apex, the Book of Rays channels divine power downward through those systems. The 3 celestial masters and the 12 earthly kings from the preface act as the absolute boundary condition for this entire ontological structure, fully insulating it from standard earthly logic. The Book of Soyga presents an unbreakable, unified system of thought. It executes exactly what it promised in its opening lines, to turn the reader's steps toward the conjunction of nature. In this context, magic was an act of extreme, obsessive categorization. To the Renaissance esotericist, power came from mapping every single variable, from the bile in your stomach to the names of God. The Book of Soyga leaves us with a profound realization. The most fantastical minds of the Renaissance were also its most rigorous structural engineers.